What's up everyone, it's Marco Hanna from PhoneDog.com, and when you hear the phrase Android flagship, you think of tons of devices. I mean, there's a new Android flagship every 10 minutes. Just this year we had the S5, the HTC One, the Apple Find 7, the OnePlus One. There's tons of devices with Android flagship specs, and we really don't know what describes flagship anymore because there's just tons of them around, and there's really not one single flagship. But then LG went and announced their LG G3, a device that, was really surprising for a lot of people because it didn't look very similar to the G2, yet it does have the same feel and the texture, built the same materials, but it had so much more that for some reason just did not come out of any of the other manufacturers. And the LG G3 is nothing special either. I mean, mainly it was a marketing exercise with a 2K display, tons of great specs, and really a design that was worth building. And that's the key word. The LG G3 is a worth-built device of 2014. It doesn't mean it's the flagship of 2014 or the best Android phone. It's a device worthwhile that someone actually had thought and built it into a device, and surprisingly, LG were the ones who did that. So it's the LG G3 review right here at PhoneDog.com. I know you guys have been waiting for this one, so enjoy. A device worth using it is. Now let's start with the basics. The LG G3 specs. Inside, a 2.5 GHz quad-core Snapdragon 801 chip with 3 GB of RAM for the 64 GB model and 2 GB of RAM for the 16 GB model. We also have the Adreno 330 GPU to provide its horsepower for content and a massive 3000 mAh battery to power it all. On the back, you'll find a 13 megapixel camera with OIS, or optical image stabilization, a first of its kind for 4K UHD video recording here in the States. We also have an entirely new build that still uses plastics but has a completely different appeal. We want the focus to be all on this display, and rightfully so. One more redesign are the buttons on the back. Now made flat but more clicky, they do have a much better feeling. I felt like I knew exactly where they were after about an hour or so of usage. It's a big improvement from the LG G2 and the G Flex. Welcome to the next generation of display resolutions. 1080p was insane on phones and still is. This is 2K, or more like 2.5K. LG's focus on display technology really shows by how they present the display itself. LG cut all the bezels down to as little as possible. The whole front of this phone is just all display, and it has a very attractive look that I just can't shake off. The resolution is 2560 by 1440, or basically the same resolution as your 27-inch iMac. This brings its pixels per inch up to an astonishing 534 pixels per inch. And the quality of the panel is very good. At first, I thought the HTC One M8 had a more clear and bright panel, but after using the IPS LCD on the G3, the M8 just doesn't cut it. The colors on the G3 are nearing perfection for color reproduction. I feel that this is the best display on the market to date. And that's because LG are masters of crafting beautiful panels. Most of the displays in your iPhones, the iPads, and a few other Android devices all come from a Korean company called LG. Now, this massive resolution raises the question if it's necessary and how would you be able to use it in a small phone? Is it necessary? Well, probably not. If we all generally agree that 300 pixels or so per inch is the human limit of the retinas, then why do we nearly double pixels per inch on the LG G3? In these days, content is not jumping from 1080p to 2.5K. We're jumping from 1080p, or really 2K, to 4K. So how are we going to use it? Well, content is out of the picture, or really for now, until they actually make specific content for the G3 and that resolution in the next couple years, you just won't use that resolution. UI is really the only place you'll see it, and so far, everyone's just been scaling down their software to fit the new resolution. So content-wise, if we ever have a 2.5K format, it may be good on this type of display, but again, it's such a small display comparatively to a TV that you're really not going to notice extra sharpness. Next up is going to be software. Well, you're going to be happy to hear that Android 4.4.2 KitKat is pre-installed on the G3 with LG's newly revised UI. It has a more flat appeal, much different from LG's old software of bright colors and weird shapes. Now, the UI still allows you to run Q-Slide applications in its little windows. You could do dual window 2 applications for multitasking, and the general feel is a little bit closer to home than stock Android, and I'm a huge fan of that. One improved feature on the G3 software is the keyboard. For one, it's resizable, but more importantly, the keys fall into place very well. Very similar to the Google keyboard, which is still my preferred Android keyboard. You also retain features from the G2 with knock code passwords, double knock to wake and sleep a device, and so on. Now, a really neat feature to the G3 software are these little notification boxes that appear when you get a text message. At first, I thought they would annoy the heck out of me, but when you're really using it, it's a great feature. It actually lets you compose, send messages without closing applications right there from that notification window. Software-wise, there were just a few things I didn't like. The first would be how they organize the notification toolbar. I'm just not a fan of sliding to find what I want. I wish there was just a way to set up a drop-down menu toolbar instead. And actually, that's it. There's tons of customization, so it's really going to be subjective depending on how you want your phone to look. Next up is performance. You really can't ask for more than what this phone packs inside. I mean, a 2.5 GHz quad-core 801 chip, 3 GB of RAM on this model, and this thing has more power than some notebooks. Performance on the UI and basic functions are lightning fast. Maybe a couple bugs, but after one software update since I received this unit about 2 weeks ago, and no other problems. Running Google Chrome with content-rich websites like The Verge and PhoneDog are a piece of cake, and scrolling was as fluid as it could be. Multitasking didn't even make this phone flinch. Now, GPU performance was also rock solid. We have the best available hardware in this device. Now, where performance really does matter is going to be battery life. A 3000 mAh battery is supplied with the LG G3, and some unlocked models actually come with 2 batteries and an extra battery charger. But one of these lasted about 12 hours of heavy usage, and I do mean really heavy usage. On a moderate day, I had 80% of battery life about a fourth way through my day. That is incredible battery life for the display size, the resolution, and all the power inside that smartphone. It is worth noting that if you do leave your G3 in automatic brightness mode, it does tend to stay around 50 to below percentage because it likes to preserve battery. And honestly, since this is not the US model, battery life could be even better when we get our US spec models since we have the correct radios for our LTE bands. Next up is going to be the camera. 13 megapixels is not the best resolution out there, but it does really well on the LG G3. In broad daylight, images are full of detail, perhaps a little noisy in low light conditions, but pretty good overall. Now, the letdowns really come where exposure. Any bright lights, it will blow out the image rather quickly. It's even worse in video mode though. Now, OIS is going to be the real star of this camera. When taking photos, you're really not going to notice it until you start taking photos while you're walking. This is a perfect smartphone for street photography, and you really can't say that because most photos you'll take when you're walking are going to come out really blurry. In video mode, however, you can really see the full effect. Now, OIS usually has a robotic motion, and it is very apparent on the LG G3 that there is some kind of optical image stabilization. And it is on, but it really can't smooth out some of the shots. Now, UHD content is not up to par to the Samsung Galaxy S5. That's a sad thing, really, because I just wanted this to be an amazing camera, and it's okay, it's good in quality, the OIS is fantastic, but it just does not match up to the Samsung Galaxy S5. Now, if you're still watching this video, you are one of 2 people. You're either really serious about buying the LG G3, or you're just really awesome for supporting the PhoneDog YouTube channel. The LG G3 is the flagship I would pick of 2014 so far. There's about 5 months left of this year, and things can really change, but the LG G3 has caught me by surprise. The LG G3 is the best flagship you can buy right now. Well, that's when you can buy the LG G3 later this summer. It does everything so well, it looks fantastic with almost this edge-to-edge display panel design, and it feels superiorly high quality compared to the Samsung Galaxy S5 without the weight or the bulk of the HTC One M8. Is it the best Android phone you can buy right now? Maybe. It has a few bugs and quirks, but all phones do. I know you guys waited a long time for the review of the LG G3, and I hope it was worth it for waiting. So if you have any questions, feel free to send them directly to me on Twitter to @PhoneDog_Marco, or you can simply leave them in the comments below. Also, make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful or entertaining in any way. But as always, my name is Marco Hanna from PhoneDog.com, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.